In previous video, we focused on working through sources to brainstorm, to research, to write content with NotebookLM. This one, we will use a different set of documents I've already uploaded, and you can see we have 5 sources in different formats from CSV, table, Markdown, docs, PDFs, which we'll be using to create various onboarding, additional multimedia and documents to help my staff, new volunteers or other members of organization to use when running an onboarding for members. So we already have the summary of the documents. We won't be doing a discussion, the conversation in the box in the middle. We will be using Studio. So the far left part of the far right part of the NotebookLM interface, in which we already can see we have features like audio overview, which is generating podcast, slide deck, it's generating deck based on our sources, video overviews, mind maps, reports, flashcards for learning, quizzes, infographics, and data tables. And you can see some of those, they have an additional button. So before you hit generate, so just hit the click on specific format you want to achieve. The best way is first to click the arrow, and this will give you additional option to customize the prompts for specific output. So for example, if you want to generate an audio overview, so maybe a podcast way of doing a first round of onboarding with some summary of information about the organization, maybe some summary about specific protocols or stuff like this from the sources that we've uploaded. If you want to narrow down what you want the output to be focused on, what kind of length you want to be the output, and also in what language you want the output to be, we have to use the customize button. So here you can see we can choose from some presets like deep dive, brief, critic, debate, choose different language, length, or default, and also use the prompt here. So for example, if I will hit here a prompt and say, let's create podcast with FAQ. That's focused on practical questions a new field volunteer would have in their first week, what to hear, how to sign up for shifts, what to contact, who to contact, what the health and safety expectations are. And make it short, let's keep it in English, and we will use it as just a brief type of a podcast. And I will hit this right now, the button generate, because this will take few minutes, and you can already see this is generating in the background, and we can still use NotebookLM, different features, to work through creating different formats of our onboarding. For the second format, I will use quiz, for which we also will give it some simple prompt, similar to the one for audio overview. Let's still keep it in the topic of volunteer onboarding. Let's make it more questions and hard. So maybe I'm planning some kind of a test and at the end of the onboarding session, and I want to see how the new volunteers are knowledgeable about our protocols. And let's generate. This will take less time than generating the audio overview, which is a multimedia format, so it will take more time, and we can now pause and wait for those outputs to be generated. Okay, so we're back. The quiz took around 1 minute and generating audio overview took around 5 minutes, and we have them on our output list. We can rename them, we can share them, so a specific output directly shared with a specific person or a group, or we can just click on them and see how they are working. So for volunteer quiz, we can see that we have a quiz format based on the sources that we had here and the prompt that I gave to NotebookLM. So we have a quiz for testing our knowledge about our protocols based on FAQ, And there are some hints. I can test it. What is the question here? A volunteer is preparing for this riverbank. What is mandatory clothing? Let's say waders. That's the right answer. No, the sturdy boots were the right answer, not waders. So I don't even remember my own protocol that good. I definitely should have taken this test before. And we can also click on the explain. There is some additional information, and you can see clicking on the explain will go back to the NotebookLM main feature, which is going through the documents, showing us the exact points from the sources of the knowledge, so we can double check, or we can expand our reading, we can expand our looking for the right answer with the NotebookLM here, and we can see where are the specific moments where sturdy boots were mentioned as a requirement for litter service. So that works between different formats. You can see we have a conversation format, and we have the new output app with the quiz. Okay, let's close the quiz and let's test the audio overview. We can just hit play.
This is the brief on starting as a Riverbend Community Conservation Field volunteer. So this is your quick FAQ guide for your first week of restoring local green spaces, covering exactly what you need to know to get your hands dirty without getting lost in the weeds. Now that you know the mission, let's prep for day one. First, gear and safety. Wear closed-toe shoes, sturdy boots for mud, long pants for brambles.
Okay, I can already hear that in the first half a minute I would learn what I needed to answer properly the question in the quiz. So we have this less than 10-minute, super short podcast audio overview based on the same sources that maybe we can share at the end of onboarding for our volunteers to listen on the go, listen while traveling, and just repeat the information from the training or maybe before the test, stuff like this. So we have different formats, different multimedia formats that we can use for different learning style for onboarding of new volunteers. And we only tested 2 different formats from the NotebookLM. Those are available for free if you want to also play with a video overview, which is creating a kind of animated presentation with voiceover. This has more limits over what you can generate in free and paid version, but the rest of it, mind maps, slide decks, data, infographics are available in the free tier of NotebookLM as well. They might just have some limits of how many of those you can generate per day or per month. Okay, if we need this output specifically like audio or video, you can also download it or share it as a link with your volunteers, with your team. And last but not least, because we are currently working on this project as a one person, if you want to incorporate other team members into working on this onboarding project or any other project in NotebookLM, this is very useful. You can share this specific notebook not only with people you want to share the outputs, but you want to cooperate with them. So I can pick another person and give it this person access not only as a viewer but as an editor, in which this other person will be able to cooperate with me on the same sources, add new sources, go through my notes, go through the outputs, generate new outputs with different prompts. That way you can imagine working remotely on a project with support of NotebookLM as an AI assistant, but you are not the only person who is working on the outputs. You can share this with the team as you would be working on Google Docs or Microsoft shared documents.